you start recording when I said that?
Yes.
There's something in the air.
Okay, so this is There's Something in the Air, a spoiler-filled Winona Earp podcast where that is probably not at all what we're going to talk about this week. Monica left us alone, so now you have the twins recording. This is BP.
And Michelle.
And we're not like 100% sure what we're going to talk about, but we are pretty sure it's going to be ridiculous. So one thing that happened this week was the trailer came out for season 5 of the Hundy. And we were already talking about that a little bit ago, but we have now promised ourselves we will not dive into the dumpster fire that was season 3. So we were going to start talking about, like, what did you think of the trailer and what did you think was, like, probably not really what?
They're spiraling. Oh, and it's all the Hundy from here.
So what did you think of the trailer and what would you like to see happen in season 5?
Well, I fucking loved that trailer. It was great. And it was also horrible because, like, the narration of Clark and Maddie telling the story of the first few seasons I loved it. It was excellent. And then the rest of the trailer was just all of our characters, like, getting tortured. I mean, which I love to see because I love the dark, fucked up mystery that is the Hundy. But also it was like, look at, like, Raven's getting, like, electrocuted. Now Clark's getting electrocuted. Octavia's killing... Actually, Octavia killing people is generally pretty satisfying.
Remember that one time she was going to be a farmer? That was fun.
Yep.
Where's your sheep now, bitch? It is weird for like 6 years later, this is the first time you're seeing your characters and, like, basically, yeah, they're getting tortured.
It's just like nothing has changed in 6 years. Like,
welcome home.
The show is still all about shitting on Clark and Raven, and, like, it's... Opal agrees. We watched it together. She had some feelings.
Yeah, Opal's not having it. So one thing I want to see out of season 5, I don't know if they're going to do this or not, because Jason talked about, like, we're in the present now and, like, we're only going to use flashbacks strategically like we have in the past, but I want to see 501 being about nothing but a lone Clark finding a lone Maddie and them being alone together.
I would watch an entire season of Clark, like, being alone and then finding Maddie and them just wandering around the world.
Yeah, and finding, like,
together.
Pana and fishing and stuff.
Like, I would watch their Discovery Channel survival show.
That would be the best.
Like, because both of us are obviously, like, huge Clark fangirls, so it's like, oh, just Clark for an entire season? Yes, please.
I'm in. Just let her keep talking on the radio every day. That's fine. Nobody needs to be on the other end.
Nope, she can just narrate her... Oh my god, here's a show. It's like Clark narrating her, like, day or week or whatever, and, like, us just watching, like, her narrating it over the radio, but us just, like, watching it happen as she narrates it.
I will say this. They have an excellent exposition tool in that radio if they use it correctly.
It is, like, it could be so, so good.
And they started that in the trailer, and that part looked good. Like, oh my gosh, when she's like, I've been alone for 2 months, but this is the first time I felt lonely, like, I almost started crying.
Oh yeah, I got emotional watching that trailer.
It was a lot.
It was a lot. And, like, my thing is too, so, like, I don't want us to pick up exactly where where the flash forward was. I want us to, like, start before that. Which they're gonna have, like, they can't do an episode, like, picking up from there. Like, they have to give us some foundation groundwork for what's happened over the past 6 years. But, like, I want to see, like, all the people in space being really fucking bored because they're in space. And I want to see Octavia maybe stop seeing the world in black and white and like and see that gray and maybe not be a horrible leader. But
oh my gosh, I think she just gets even more black and white. And you could tell that from what she said. Like, you're either one crew or you're against one crew. Choose. Like, I don't even have time for this. You guys kill each other.
I love Florhetta. I love her. I also want to smack her so much because it's like, oh, like when she's like pissed at Clark for letting the missile drop, and it's like, but there wasn't another choice. Like, yes, it was shitty. It was like a lose-lose situation. She just like can't grasp that, and I feel like because of that, she's gonna be such a shitty leader. And I feel like there are just gonna be so many corpses in that bunker.
That's fine. They'll eat them.
I mean, like, what are you supposed to do? Does it have like an incinerator in there?
Cannibal crew.
Cannibal crew. This show was twisted before, but now it's just real.
No, I mean that's
up.
like a huge theory that's going around. They're gonna because they've been in there for an extra year, and they said like it would hold such and such people for 5 years. They've been in there for an extra year. They're eating people.
Oh, I mean, like, I feel like it's a foregone conclusion. I just really don't want it to be because this show is dark and fucked up, but it's just like now they're cannibals. So it's like, oh man.
Maybe Cadigan left like a secret storage in his office or something, and that won't have to happen.
I feel like they're like Jason loves to write disturbing shit, so it's probably going to be. I
was hoping before we started seeing like Marie actually showed up to cons starting this year, and she's rarely ever does that, and apparently it's because she has like horrible anxiety over it, which like yeah. Hello, I'd be right there with you, girl.
I feel that.
She has said, like, everybody's going to hate Octavia this season. And I was really hoping that her having to lead so long and do all that crazy stuff would actually help her relate more to Clark and that they could kind of see, on a certain level, eye to eye. But I have no idea, like, what their relationship is going to be. And we did see that scene with, like, her, Clark, and Maddie. And she's like cutting Maddie's hand. So it's like the whole Nightblood thing. Like, where's the flame? What's going on with that? Like, so many questions.
I feel like no matter what happens in this show, Octavia and Clark will never be friends.
I could see that.
Like, they're friends, but they're not actually. Like, remember in season 1 when they were friends? Like, that relationship is forever fucked.
Yeah.
Like, it's not coming back. And, like, Raven and Clark is not like you don't bounce back from killing like someone's first love.
Well, they did a ton more though. I mean, there's like
but they like repaired the relationship. I feel like if Octavia were in the shuttle, she wouldn't have felt that bad about Clark dying.
I think the only reason at this point that Clark and Octavia have any like relationship at all or even have the past season, well, I guess they didn't even like interact last season hardly at all in season 4. She was off doing her own thing in caves and farms and stuff before she was just gonna become the leader of the world. No worries, whatever. But the only reason I feel like they even have like a begrudging respect or non-callousness toward each other is just because of like both of their loves for Bellamy. Like, I respect you because I care about him, sort of thing.
He's the glue that's holding like any hostility like between them.
Although
because like Octavia can't stand Clark.
I know we're not supposed to mention season 3, but like she did come to her, and say like, we need you and come back and this or that and blah, blah. But then Clark didn't actually come back at that time, so she thought she abandoned her. But her and Inger did get to do that sweet, like, Backstreet Boys stride out of Polis. So, I mean, you give some, you get some.
The thing, too, but, like, okay, so, like, Clark staying in Polis in season 3, like, that was dumb. She wasn't gonna stay because that wasn't an option. Like, she's not allowed to like have any sort of like life for herself. She has to like go and do shit for her stupid people.
At least you're not bitter.
Like It's like it's her entire story. Like she's not allowed to be happy, which is like why she's not allowed to survive the end of the show.
Yeah, I mean, well, all she was doing there was hiding anyway, though.
Well, yeah, she was. Well, I mean, if she hadn't like physically gotten dragged out of the woods, she would have just hung out in the woods forever.
Which would have been a whole other show.
Like I firmly believe I would watch that show so much. But like that's the thing. Like she really was like she had convinced herself that she was done with all of the bullshit. Like she already killed like 1,000 people. She was like, I have enough. Like I had enough. She reached her limit, and then she got dragged back into it. And she like couldn't not. Like once she got a lay of the land, she couldn't not do something about it. But Octavia was a giant bitch about it, but she was right when she was telling Clark they needed her. Opal. I think there are squirrels outside.
I don't know, but it made me think of a line like in early season 3, in 301 actually, because you just mentioned like 1,000 people, and like Nyla was cleaning up her wound, and she's like, "You have no kill marks." She's like, "Yeah, my back's not big enough."
Yeah, like Clark's gone through a lot.
Yeah.
This time though, when she pulled a lever, it was more to save herself.
How so?
Well, I guess it was to save her people.
In season 4, you mean? Oh, well, that was so funny because you end up at the end and, they're like, don't worry about it. She's not going to pull a lever. Like, so she...
Because, like, she like, got the satellite and everything, and then she...
I mean, she had to, like, reposition it. The satellite was the lever. Like, she had to...
But she pulled a lever in the bunker, right?
What?
Did she pull a lever in like the bunker at the end of season 4?
Oh, probably,
like,
but that wasn't
doors?
the end. That's why I always thought that's why she was getting so mad about Bellamy trying to leave, and she like wanted to shoot him. It wasn't because like he was, trying to get out and get Octavia. It was because she didn't want to admit she was wrong. She's like, "Listen, the lever's already been pulled."
Oh, yeah.
There's no going back now. So we got a lot of like classic lines out of the trailer, like Murphy walks out and says, "See you on the other side." So there's
we get Octavia saying "love is weakness," and the fandom all groaning and like face palming.
I'm hoping that's one of the weird like Mr. X, because I feel like there's something just strange about how that happened. Like Indra was like, your brother loves you, and she's like, love is weakness. There was something weird about it.
Oh, that was definitely just audio clips cut together. That's not how the scene is going to go. I just feel like Octavia is so driven by emotion. Like even when she pretends she isn't. Like her and Bellamy are both just emotional messes. And so I feel like her saying that love is weakness, like the only way that she would say that would be like in like mocking.
Yeah. I thought the scene was super cool, and I hope this one's not a misdirect. I hope it's probably not happening for the reason we might think it is, but I'm pretty sure it was him who like had swords and like swiped her legs out from underneath her. And that was badass. And I do think that if that were the case, then it is showing exactly what you were just saying. Like he's become more intellectually minded of like, okay, I'm going to use my head first. I'm going to be more cautious. Like he even says that when they see the ship, Murphy's like, why don't we just light it up and let them know we're here? And he's like, we don't know who those people are. Like, let's just calm down for a second. And so I feel like the only reason that he would be beating Octavia, who is clearly someone who has no doubt been fighting this entire time. Although I'm sure they're training up on the Ark, because like, what else are you going to do besides fight? And apparently they're all learning Trigetta sling up there, which is fun. And, but I feel like the only reason she would lose to him is because she would approach that fight with like pure raw emotion. So for him to come at it not that way is like,
it would be like him like handling a temper tantrum from her, like just keep like defending yourself and pushing her back until she tires herself out.
It's like a flashback to when he was like 9 and she was a toddler. Not much has changed.
I do like that they're all gonna speak. I don't even remember how to pronounce that. I can say
Some people
words in
just say
the
trig.
grounder language. I like that they're all learning how to speak trig because it just reinforces the like a lot of people have been like mocking. Like I saw a lot of people who had to give up on the Hundy after the Lexa debacle, mocking the trailer because they're like it's the exact same story, but like switch perspective. But I really am looking forward to that because like for 4 seasons the Sky people were like fucking garbage. But we were like had to be on their side because that's the way that the narrative forced us to think. It's narrative persuasion. Like you have to side with them. But now we get to come from the reverse where, we have these invaders. Like it's just going to be interesting to see the other side of the story.
I think so too. And I think there's actually not going to be just 2 sides because I think there's going to be so much like infighting between Clark and Maddie and Space Crew and the bunker. Like it's going to take them some time to even determine if they're all on the same side.
Somebody's going to need to form a coalition.
I feel like that's such a new concept on this show.
And I feel like it's not going to be Clark because she's just going to I like a lot of people groaned when she was just like, we'll kill them all. And I was like, yes, kill them all.
Levers for everyone.
Just find a lever that'll, blow up that new ship and problem solved. What's a few hundred more deaths?
So what's up with their like it looks like there's 2 ships. Because it looks like the one that came down is just kind of like, a transport, which is literally what it's called. But it almost seems like they're like the one with all the people in cryo is like the mothership.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because obviously our space crew is going to end up flagging down the invader peoples.
I don't think it's going to be all of them.
What do you mean?
From what they've shown about like kind of how the people got separated or even when it was Murphy leaving, I think they might like flag them down, quote unquote, but only a couple of them will even like show themselves.
Oh, yeah. No, but I'm saying they are going to have to make contact with them.
Sure, yeah.
So that's going to be instrumental in some way of getting them to the ground because obviously whatever their plan was didn't work out because they're a year and a half late.
I don't know. Raven seems pretty determined at that point. You know how she gets.
Well, I'm like she's going to be sitting there tinkering, and they're going to be like, "So should we just flag them down?" Because I don't, I'm not sure. Wait, Opal. God.
Well, that's why I feel like Murphy's going to go with them, and like maybe somebody else. But I do think Raven's going to get the bulk of them, like down herself.
Well, since Echo's on the ship. Because she's the one that sees the army, right?
Yeah.
I think that's going to be part of it, where like some of them come in with the understanding that's like, well, fuck, like we have all of our people, well, who they presume to be their people still, in the bunker. They think Clark's dead, so, she's not on the board. But they have their entire like population of their people in the bunker. And so they're like, well, fuck, we have this other army coming down. So I feel like it's going to be, that might be something that unites them together, being like, well, we have another Sky People situation.
I wonder what they assume about the people in the bunker. Because I know they're all like, they hope they're still alive, because you don't know for sure. But they have no way of knowing they're like still in there. Like, I wonder where they think they are.
I'm really looking forward to like when they land and Clark is just like, where have you guys been? And they're just like, are we seeing a ghost? Like, who the fuck is that? I
know some people are like, they're really excited for all her reunions, like when she sees such and such, it's going to be so meaningful. It's going to be this, it's going to be that.
I feel like it's not going to be what they expect.
I don't think so either. I think that some of them are going to be really, not necessarily, like, I don't know that bad is the word, but like cold and confusing.
I feel like the space crew is going, like, obviously Bellamy's going to lose his shit. Raven will probably be pretty excited.
I don't think
The rest of
Bellamy's
them,
going to be happy to see her.
you don't?
No, because I think she's going to be like a ghost to him. I feel like he has spent like 6 years. I mean, up to that point, like mourning her and grieving her and like moving on into this person he was supposed to be because he's like honoring her, and here she is just like chilling. No, I don't think he's going to be happy to see her. Like not that he won't be happy, but I just think in his initial response is to be very like very defensive.
I agree to a certain extent. I feel like she is looking for, like, Clark is looking forward to her friends coming down, but 6 years is a long time.
It's a long time.
And so it's going to be great for her because it's going to be like, well, like she says, she doesn't really know who she like is anymore. Like, is she that Clark anymore? She's definitely not. So it's going to be interesting to see the dynamics because everybody thought she was, well, the bunker people probably are just going to like not really think all that much about it because they assume she was in space. But the space crew, it's going to be interesting to see. I feel like the people who didn't have as much of a relationship with her might actually be happier to see her than the people who were close to her.
Yeah, that's an interesting way of putting it.
Because they didn't have to mourn her. And I feel like, yeah, you're right.
To
Bellamy
the same degree.
is not going to be necessarily warmed, or she's probably going to be warmed to Bellamy because apparently she's been sending him daily broadcasts.
Like online journal.
Like she's like she'd be vlogging for him,
Yeah.
but so she and it's basically like him and Raven were the two people that she was closest to, but like she kind of fucked up her relationship with Raven when she killed Finn. Like, yes, they recovered, but it's not the same. So it's going to be interesting to see the people who really had to mourn her and how they interact, because I feel like Clark's gonna be excited to see them, not as excited to see the other people, but the other people are gonna be excited to see her, and like Bellamy and Raven are just gonna be like, what the fuck?
I think it'll be interesting though, like what could also throw off those dynamics is depending on the circumstances with which they find each other. Because I don't think like space crew is just gonna, land and Clark's gonna see them and it's gonna be like, okay, everyone react. Like, I think from what we even seen, with like the shock lashing, like I wouldn't be surprised if Clark and Raven end up meeting each other as like prisoners, so then it's like, how do you react? Like maybe she's not as excited to see Raven in that spot because it's like, oh my gosh, we've already been through this. You were supposed to be alive. And she's all like, what are you doing here? People need to stop torturing us.
I feel like it would also be interesting because like they're presumably, some of them at least are going to come down with the transport ship. It'd be interesting if like either like they meet in some sort of hostile environment, like a standoff with like the new awesome badass space lady, commander lady,
Charmaine.
If like it was like a standoff between Charmaine and Clark had her measly rifle that is really no match. And then like out from behind Charmaine, like Bellamy pops out. And she's just like, I feel like if that were the case, she'd be real cold towards him.
That's funny. Jason did already say that neither Raven or Bellamy is on that particular ship. Like the one that's landing in the Greenfield right now.
Okay, cool. I like that more.
Yeah. But imagine if she sees like Murphy through her rifle sight.
She might just shoot him.
She sees this like new, really badass looking chick who strolls off and is like clearly in charge of every damn thing. And then like Murphy just walks out behind her. But then she'll realize he's like in handcuffs and it becomes a thing.
I feel like really what Clark and Maddie need to do is they just need to go find like a little spot towards the edge of the one green area left on Earth and just like build a hut and live by themselves.
I think that's what they already did, and that's not going to go too well.
I just want Clark to be happy.
There's like this huge trek they have to take across the desert now, I think, because like everything in between the bunker and the green is like either decimated or it's desert.
Yeah.
So to get that army there, they're gonna have to like go all the way across that. I absolutely love when she says, like the other soldiers talking to her, and he's like, "What? Like, why would they do that? They're so crazy." And she's like, "They're not crazy. They're fanatical, and fanatics make great soldiers." I was like, "Yeah."
I'm really looking forward to her. She looks like such a badass.
Yeah, I'm sure that we'll like hate her and love her, but
Oh, like I already hate her. Like I preemptively hate her because she's gonna like torture my girl Clark. But I also really freaking love her already because she is such a badass.
yeah, she really is. They didn't show much about the serial killer guy, except for he has like some sort of like plasma ray gun.
Their technology, I'm questioning it. Like, where did they get these this really advanced technology? Like, they had to go up in space at the same time as like everyone else.
Yeah, but you have to think about it. Like they were being sent out by a corporation. There's all sorts of things they could have had that like weren't available to other people. I mean, they all have like Nightblood, as far as we know, because Becca was the one designing that. So I mean, that's not like something that was available to other people.
True.
Oh, Becca and her Nightblood. I wonder if like someone else made the point, which I think is really interesting, about like the creepy alien thing that's in that person's belly. And someone said like, what if that they actually try to take the flame? And that's what happens, like because their Nightblood is like different than the Nightblood everybody else had. So like when Emerson took it, like when Clark put it in Emerson, it just went like right through his head. But like, what if it tries to settle in somebody and they have like different Nightblood and it like ends up pressing out their gut or something?
I would love that so much.
I think it's cool.
I just like that the chip is like its own character.
We'll never be rid of the flame.
like Chip Hedda over there, like killing Emerson.
The chip has a body count. Oh my god.
Yeah, like the chip took somebody out. Yeah, I don't know. I'm really looking forward to season 5. Like I was so down on the show and I didn't think it could be redeemed after the dumpster fire that was season 3, but like it was slowly winning me back, and then the season 4 finale happened and I was like, nope, the show is back to being awesome.
Yeah, I know. Like the beginning of season 4 was amazing, and then like from episode 10 on, like Die All Die Merrily, it was amazing after that. The middle was like slow and kind of weird.
It took me a while to get through the middle.
Yeah, I will say it just really never landed for me that basically the entire enemy of season 4 was like the world. Like it's just gonna end now. The world is fighting back against you. So to have them come in and have like tangible enemies again makes me very happy. Especially because it's new ones. It's not like, oh look, here's another clan that we didn't know anything about 10 minutes ago, but they all seem to act the same. And oh look, there's that license plate guy again.
That's the thing. I think like I struggled a lot through season 4 because it was boring. Because there wasn't an enemy.
Right. They could never make the stakes high enough, even though they were, the highest they could have been.
But the thing is, like, the world ending and, like, everybody dying, I'd be like, yeah, that's pretty solid. Like, that's a good ending for the series.
I know. See, that's kind of the hard thing is, like, that's almost how you want them to go out. Like, okay, we failed, show over.
Like, I kind of thought that's what they were going to do before they announced that they got a season 5, because I was like, oh, like, the world's ending again, like either it's gonna try to go back in space, that's like obviously number 1,
sure,
but I'm like, but they fail and then everybody dies.
Yeah.
And I thought that was going to be such an excellent end of the show because it's like the most honest end, because it's like when Monty says in the trailer, like, if we need to fight, like, do we even deserve the land, or something along those lines. And I'm like, no, like everybody is horrible. Like nobody actually deserves anything in this world. So like everybody dying would be the most just, and like it would do the story like so much, like it would, that's how it like needs to end. Everybody dies.
Yeah, I could see that happening for sure. And I'm with you. It's almost like, okay, now you've taken that off the table as the way like everybody goes out, which it seems almost poignant that that would have been a way that you could have left for the end.
I just think that that would be like, I don't know, because like no, like nobody deserves that land, because in this world, like in the world that they've created, like everybody's like bad.
Right. You know what else I'm curious, and these two things kind of go together, but like maybe not. There's that character that's supposed to come in, played by Shannon. What's his last name? Cook something. Cook. I don't. Yeah, he's supposed to come in the finale, and then they said he's poised to potentially be like a large character or have a large role in season 6 if they move on to that. So, like the big question, you know, is like, where does he come from? Like, what are you doing the entire season, and you just kind of came out of nowhere? I'm wondering if there are not people alive in other places, because you know, even last year, like they showed when the death wave was coming, like somebody dying in like Egypt.
All right, let's not talk about that fucking scene, because that's not how radiation works.
Sweetie, none of this is how radiation works.
I saw that, and I like had like I threw like a tantrum about that, because I'm like, you don't just turn into fucking dust.
Yeah, they always treated it like it was like the A-bomb, not just like radiation leaks.
Yeah, it was like, I don't, that's like, the show is so neat. Like, bone marrow is a renewable resource. Like, that's not how radiation kills. Like, there's so many issues.
Yeah, there's a huge suspension of disbelief necessary to enjoy.
Yeah, the nitpicky nerd in me finds a lot of things on the show where I just can't get over
Oh, you
it.
have to ignore the science, like, altogether.
Yeah, none of it makes sense.
So we want, like, a full, Clark Maddie flashback episode as 501, like ending basically right where season 4 left off. What else do you want to see in the season?
I would like, this is just for my own personal like vindication in my mind. I would really like someone to kill Jaha. How that guy's still alive is beyond me.
Okay. Theory. This came out of Twitter the other day. The theory is that because we were told at Unity Days by Marie that like Octavia is still, you know, holding grudges against like Kane and Jaha and this or that, whatever, because of like her time on the Ark. So the prevailing theory at the moment is that the two of them are forced to fight to the death. Just like Lexa would have made them do like when they were prisoners.
Well, Kane obviously has to win because
Right.
he's with Abby.
But I mean, can you imagine like anybody else other than Kane killing Jaha? Like that's so amazing that it would be Kane. And I know it's going to weigh on him because he's ultimately a good person, but whatever. It's going to be amazing.
He learned to be a good person. In season 1, I was just like, dude.
It was just the hair.
Maybe it was just the hair. Anyway, what else do I want to see in this season? I'm really looking forward to Octavia and Bellamy's relationship, because it's a fucking mess all the time. And I really want to see Octavia, I doubt it's going to happen, Octavia like grow as a character and like get out of the grudge holding black and white mindset, because like they've played that out. Like she needs to develop and like learn some shit, which I don't think is going to be what happens while she's in the bunker. But I feel like once they get out of the bunker, I want her to be forced to like learn something finally.
Right. I'm trying to think what they said about her arc. She, like Marie said, everyone's going to hate her. But then I can't remember if other people said like that her overall arc they really, really liked. I could just be totally making that up.
The thing with like Jason is like he is capable of writing a good story arc. Like season 2 was amazing, even though Lex's decision made no sense. But all of that was great. And then he had a few seasons there where he kind of didn't know how to
Yeah.
write a story. So they're capable of doing a great development arc for Octavia this season, and I feel like they set it up with like where she is right now, but they need to execute. And I really, really want them to, because I want Florhetta to like come back into the light so I can really root for her.
Yeah. Well, they have an opportunity, especially because, a lot of the core relationships have essentially been destroyed. They have the opportunity to rebuild and to actually do that focus on like character moments if they will let the characters outshine the plot. They have everything set up right now for this to be the best season they've ever had.
Yeah, because the slate is pretty much wiped clean on like the characters that they created. Like, yes, they're still going to be the same characters. They're going to still have some same traits, but they've had 6 years of us not watching them, of being able to grow and develop in any way that they want.
And in that same way, the time jump, like within the story itself, kind of erased a lot of the show's, huge missteps. Because the problem with how they were trying to develop like new relationships or do other things, from season 1 to season 4 was like that entire thing took place in like 9 or 10 months. And now it's like literally we've jumped away from that. Like, let's just, dismantle our own mythology and go back like to square one. You can have a completely different story. Like, yes, it's flipped on its head. Yes, it's going to keep the same themes, but it also, yes, it has like the characters we love, but let's, step away from some of the problems that we created in the past.
Yeah, they have the opportunity to make this show amazing like it was in the earlier seasons.
Yeah, I agree. I'm super stoked, though. I cannot wait.
I'm excited, but it's like a cautious optimism because we've been burned plenty of times, but they have set it up where it could be so, so good.
Yeah, I'm just diving in head first. Like, I'm all about it. And you know what's amazing? I've never seen a show, especially like before the person even really comes on. Like, I cannot tell you how invested I am in Maddie. And she didn't even exist before like 10 seconds ago.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's just like it's hard to do in stories if you like introduce a kid, because normally they're like babies, and babies on TV just doesn't work.
Even younger kids, not always super great.
Yeah, but like in this world and like the way that they set her up, where like she's the only person with Clark, like it's gonna. I don't want to say it's gonna be. It can be so good. Yeah.
So what do you think happened to her? Like, why did she survive?
I've thought about that, and I can't come up with like a really solid theory, because so she's Nightblood, which is obviously how she survived, but she doesn't, like, how old does she look?
I think now she's like 12 or 13. Yeah,
so
she's
she
like
was
6.
a kid. So I mean, I'm assuming. I mean, she probably was with her family.
Right, so I'm guessing because they had just had the conclave and stuff, but we did learn that the scouts were not super geniuses. So I'm thinking that her family hid her. I have this really like bizarre dream where I want her to be like Lexa's kid sister, but that's a whole other story. You know what I mean? Like where your first kid got taken. Your first kid got taken to the conclave, and you're like, we're never gonna let that happen again. Are you kidding me? Like, how amazing would that be?
That would be so good. Now you're getting my hopes up for like stories that aren't going to happen.
Sorry. They did say today that she has a conversation with Maddie about Lexa, and that she's told her about her, and that in her journal, like, and she's literally told her about like everybody. So and Lexa is on the rifle strap that Eliza Taylor knew nothing about.
I did know that. Yeah, I'm excited for how Clark portrayed her people to Maddie. Because it's gonna definitely.
Me too. Like, especially with the people that come down. Like, is she gonna think, that everybody? Like, I have a feeling Clark's gonna tell her the very best version of everybody.
I think she's too, because like you look back on the past with like, you know, rose tinted glasses, like you remember the better things that people did, especially in instances like this where you don't necessarily know if you're going to see them ever again. So
Right.
I think that, I mean, I think Maddie says something along the lines that they were all like heroes in this story. And like,
Right.
they, like everybody on this show is so fucking flawed. It's going to be interesting to see how, well, everybody also changed and developed. So it's going to be like Maddie has this really idealized version of the people they were 6 years ago. And now we have who they are after going through. I mean, pretty much like, I'm sure that there was plenty of trauma in trying to survive in space. And like, you know, the relationships that went up there, like, I feel like Murphy and Amori probably aren't together anymore. Like,
Yeah, no,
I
don't
don't,
think so either.
like maybe Harper and Monty, but
I'm not invested in
I
that.
don't really care about that. Like, I like Harper as a character because she's not really a character. She's just there and like sometimes does awesome stuff.
Yeah, I don't really feel like they weave themselves into the plot all that much.
It was really, I really thought they were just going to kill them at the end of last season. I was surprised that they were on the shuttle.
Well, you have to have somebody up there.
Well, I mean, I figured they were going to,
Like three people.
I figured they were going to send Echo up.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait for her arc. I'm so excited for the possibilities of like what they could do with her now that she has like a family instead of a ruler.
It's gonna like I think I'm actually most excited for her outside of Clark, because so she was like the warrior for Nia.
Asgetta.
Yeah, so she was badass warrior for Asgetta, and now she's been completely yanked out of Grounder culture and sent up into fucking space. And it's like she's pretty much all on her own, because like Amori has Murphy and they've kind of like, she's kind of melded a little bit more between the two cultures, but Echo is not at all in Sky People Land, and now she's up in space, completely removed from everything that she's ever known. So I feel like she's going to be this really interesting hybrid.
Yeah, because Amori like stole tech all the time, so
Yeah.
at the very least she's not like remotely put off by the idea of technology. But Echo is like,
Echo, and also Echo's previous run-ins with like technology is when she was like held in Mount Weather.
True, yeah.
Like the only thing that she has had with anything like remotely Sky Crew related is just trauma. So it's going to be really interesting to see how she's like grown, and you know how like who she is now after 6 years of being completely removed from everything she's ever known.
I feel like they did a lot of fighting up there, like training and stuff. Not even necessarily for like a specific purpose, but just because, you know, you got to keep active. Like, I know, you know, eating the algae is probably not like what you want to do with your day. Clearly the comms don't work. So, I mean, I know like, you know, up in her rooms and stuff, like Clark used to watch like old TV. Remember like soccer games and stuff, or baseball, whatever, like would be on, and her dad and stuff were like watching reruns. But I highly doubt that's something they're getting to do. They just get to stand at the window and watch the world burn.
Yeah, I feel like, and also the thing is that like the Sky Crew has been like the people, at least the people that like we have up there, they also were kind of removed from their Sky Crew culture because they're the ones that were out there fighting the war. They weren't like sitting in Arcadia, you know, trying to maintain their culture. They were out there, you know, living and actually having to explore the world. So I think that it's also going to be interesting because like the things that they would have done on the arc before to entertain themselves are probably not even on their radar anymore.
Right. Well, you also have to think about in the context, like Clark says from the very beginning, like going back to the ground, like that's the dream. Nobody like wants to be up here. And I know that they've said that most of the conflict that happens with Space Crew, at least like during the 6 years, like it's pretty much downtime. So most of their conflict is like interpersonal. And it's been made very, very clear that Murphy is going to struggle greatly because he thrives in conflict, and there is none.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, I mean, he's amazing, you know, like when the shit's hitting the fan. So, like, what happens when there's no shit or fan?
He's gonna create shit. I don't know. I'm really I'm looking forward to, like, I think I'm least looking forward to like the people in the bunker, because it's like they're basically the remnants of this culture that like the show has like made its best effort to eviscerate.
Right.
Because like season 2, they built up grounder culture and it was great. And then season 3, they were like, we didn't actually like grounder culture all that much. Like we should be more about Sky Crew. So let's just fuck everything up. And then season 4, they literally just blew it all away.
Yeah.
They created this awesome culture and everybody loved it. And then they were like, we're kind of bored with it.
Yeah, they needed, oh man, there was so much opportunity there with, even when they found out about Second Dawn, like so many people wanted backstories of like, okay, how did Becca and like Bill Cadigan go together? Because her landing and having all like the answers with the Nightblood and the space stuff, like he would have hated her. So, because she like, unravels his entire like mythical theology, and like what would he have done with her? But the fact also that like all of the clan symbols are in the bunker, and like all of like, how did that develop? I would literally love to see, is there's been talks of a prequel, which I honestly don't know that this show is like strong enough for a spinoff. But there have been talks of a prequel that have like just literally nothing to do with what's going on now. Like it'll just be in the same universe. And I would love for that to be like literally right when the world ended and what happened and like how this culture came to be.
I would love that too, because the show is like, the mythology of the show is super, super interesting. But like their one attempt, well, they did it more in season 4, but like in season 3, their one attempt to like give us that backstory was 307, and like a lot of other shit was going on where it like like it wasn't as profound as they wanted it to be, just because they had too much going on in the episode, right. So it didn't really land.
Right.
And then it was also the episode where they killed Lexa, so like everything else kind of like flew out the window as far as like you had a major character death. Yeah. So like hearing like how Becca came down wasn't all that interesting. Which
is a shame, because like barring that scene, that episode is tremendous. Like all that's going, it's so good.
And then in the last like 30 seconds, it gets wrecked.
Yeah. But the stuff with it being about Becca and like the flame and the Nightblood, and you find out essentially like the show's entire mythology in that episode. But,
yeah. Then it was just they had too much going on, so it didn't land the way that they had hoped it would. But yeah, I would watch a spinoff that's just the mythology of how everything came to be. Is Auggie making an appearance on the podcast?
He is. He is quite agitated. He sees our friends over on their porch, but he doesn't always think of friends as friends. He's very huffy right now.
I hear that.
Yeah, he's literally huffing, isn't he?
Yep. All right, we had 2 pets make an appearance. I'm assuming you heard Opal whining.
Oh, of course. And I still hear her like walking around. She's got heavy feet.
She just keeps jumping up on the trunk that's by the window. And so it's her nails smacking into that.
Cool. Well, I think that we kind of like basically covered our wishes and such. If people have questions about it, I'd love to hear it. Like I have so many theories and stuff swirling in my mind, but I'm surprised I was able to stay this coherent. Because I know when I saw the trailer, I was like completely at a loss for words. I thought it was amazing. I know that I'm going to be just like out of my mind whenever like none of that stuff happens in the season and we come back and it's basically going to be like a fan video that was cut together, but whatever. I'm here for it.
I'm definitely going to sit down and like watch every single frame of it to get as many details as I can. Because I'm amazing at obsessing over stuff. But yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic about this season. Hopefully it does not disappoint and they can get back to the amazingness that was the earlier seasons or surpass it.
Yeah. They've set up such an opportunity, so I'm really, really hoping that they take advantage of it. Cool. So this has been a Wynonna Earp podcast.
That has had absolutely nothing to do with Wynonna Earp, but can you expect anything else when Monica isn't here to rein us in?
She left us alone, so ultimately, if you don't like this episode, you can blame it on her. I mean, right?
I would. Like, we're children.
Yeah. This is the only thing we're allowed to talk about, or the only time we're allowed to talk about this is when she's not here.
Yeah, so, hopefully you enjoyed this episode. If you want to hit us up with any theories or comments on our ramblings, you can send us an email at somethingintheair@gmail.com. You can hit us up on Twitter at ErbsplainPod. You can go to our website and leave a comment on our post there. It's herbsplainpod.com. You can also access our shop and our Patreon through there.
God, we have so much crap.
We do. This is like a business now.
I feel so tied down. You guys are like my ball and chain.
Well, and I'm sitting here considering starting another stupid business.
Oh yeah, that's different though. What else? Okay. You can find Monica on Twitter at lesbianser, BP at beep33tv, or Erp Your Fandom for Winona Erp specific related stuff. Michelle is at McNick1291, and this has definitely been a shit show.
Oh, it definitely has. You can also, if you go on over to iTunes, you can rate and review us. Please do that because we like feedback.
We got a really good one today.
Oh, did we? I didn't even notice. Well, thank you for whoever.
Send more, people. We need them now.
We need the affirmation. And then you can also subscribe to us on any podcast app that isn't Stitcher. And I think that is everything.
Most
right?
assuredly. Yep, that's it.
All right, cool. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.